Okay, I'm going to go over the answers to worksheet D and also worksheet E. So I'll just be working through each of these problems. There are 18 kids in ninth grade in Cottage Garden. 8 of them are girls. What percentage of the ninth grade is boys? So first, I chose to subtract the number of girls from the total kids and say that there were 10 boys out of 18 kids total. And so to figure out what percentage this is, you can say that it's equal to some percentage over 100. Because percent really just means how much out of 100. At this point, you could solve it by multiplying this 100 over here and then multiplying the 18 over here and dividing. So let me show you what that looks like. Okay, if we multiply by 100 on both sides, then I'm going to turn this x into like a variable for us. I would have 10 times 100, which is 1,000, over 18 is equal to x. And now I'm going to multiply the 18 over here. So that will cancel this one over here. So I'll have 1,000 is equal to 18x. So to get x, the last thing I'm just doing is dividing by 18. So 1,000 divided by 18 is 55.5 repeating. So you could round it to 55.6. And that's percent. So final answer, 55.6%. What do you do with an inequality when you multiply or divide by a negative? We switch the inequality. So if it's going this way and you are multiplying by -2 on both sides, then you will just keep everything that you have right here that you multiplied, and you will switch this inequality now so that it looks the opposite direction. All right, so let's use that in number 3. Rewrite 3x minus 2y is less than 8 in slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. So we want the y all by itself, not with that 2, and we want the x on the other side too. So I'm going to start by moving the 3x over, and I'm just going to subtract 3x on both sides. And then I will divide by this -2. And I have to divide everything by -2. So both the 8 and the -3x. When I divide by that -2, I have to switch this sign right here. So I will have y, and then the sign will go the other direction. 8 divided by -2 is -4, and then -3 divided by -2 will be a positive 3/2 x. And then if you want to just write these the correct way, you could put the 3/2 x first and then subtract the 4. All right, this next one is solved by elimination. We have 2x minus 5y equals 8 and 2x minus y equals 2. So elimination means that we're putting them on top of each other and we're going to add them together. And when we add them, we will eliminate one of the variables. So sometimes we have to adjust one of the equations so that the variables will eliminate. So if we add them right now, we'd have 4x and then minus 6y, and that's not eliminating any of the variables. But if we take this one and we multiply by a -1 throughout the whole thing, then I think that we will eliminate a variable. So let me rewrite this first one. And then this one, 2x times a -1 is -2x. A -1 times a -y is a positive y. And then 2 times the -1 is -2. Now I can add up the equations, and this one will eliminate. 2x minus 2x will give me 0. Minus 5y and plus y is going to give me a negative 4y. And then 8 minus 2 is 6. I can then divide by a negative 4 to figure out what y is. Y will be a negative, and I'm going to go ahead and reduce it 3/2. So y is a negative 3/2, and then I just have to solve for x. I can use any equation. I'm going to choose to use this one. So I have 2x minus a negative, so plus a 3/2 is equal to 2. I will, you know what? I'll subtract the 3/2 to this side. So I'll have 2x is equal to 2 minus 3/2. Well, 2 is the same as 4/2. So 4/2 minus 3/2 is just 1/2. And then the last thing to do is divide by 2. Now this might look a little funny, but let's think about that. If we have half and then we divide it by 2, that means it's going to get even smaller. So what that's going to be is a 1/4. Also, you can think of a division. If we're dividing by 2, it's the same thing as multiplying by the reciprocal. So instead of dividing by 2, I can multiply by the 1/2, and that will give me 1/4. So there's my x, and there's my y. And you should put them back into the equation to make sure they work out. All right, I have $half and nickels in my pocket that equals 12 coins. If I have $2.85, how many nickels do I have? Okay, so $half, we're gonna call those H's, and then N's for nickels. Together they are 12 coins. So however many $half plus however many nickels is equal to 12. That's one equation. And then 200, I'm gonna turn it into cents. So 285 cents is, well, 50 cents for the $half and 5 cents for the nickels. Now, if I want to do elimination method, I could come up here and just multiply this top one by either negative 50 or negative 5, whichever one I want to eliminate. I'm going to choose negative 5. So I will have negative 5h minus 5n is equal to negative 60. And then my original second equation can stay the same. 50h plus 5n is equal to 285. So now I'm going to add them together. This one will be 0, a negative 5n and positive 5n. This one over here, we have 50h minus 5h, so that's 45h is equal to 285 minus 60, which is 225. Now I'm just going to divide by 45 to get what h is, and that's 5. So h is 5. Now I can use any equation to solve for n. I'm going to choose this very simple one. H plus n equals 12. So if h is 5, then n has to be 7. 7 and 5 is equal to 12. Now we can just double check. 7 nickels would be 35 cents, and 5 $half would be $2.50. If we add that up, we get $2.85, which is right. So I must have 7 nickels. 3 consecutive odd integers. Okay, first I'm going to list my integers. My first one, my second one, and my third one. Now my first one is always in, but then odd integers. So if this was 5 and this was 7, to get from 5 to 7, I have to add 2. So even though they're odd, they're still 2 numbers apart. So this one is n, this is n plus 2. And then my next one is 2 more away from this one. So if I add 2 more, it's n plus 4. Okay, now I can write my equation. 3 times the second, so that's this one. So 3 times the second one is equal to 2 times the third, that's this one, minus 9. Now what are my integers? I'm going to distribute this 3 to both the n and the 2, and then I'll do the same thing here and distribute that 2. So 3n plus 6 is equal to 2n plus 8 minus 9. 8 minus 9, that's going to give me a -1. And now I'm going to move the 2 over, the 2n over. I'm running out of space here. So minus a 2n on both sides. I'll cancel that out. And then I'm going to subtract the 6 over to this side. I already combined the 8 and the -9 to a -1. So a -1 and a -6 will give me a -7. And then on the other side, I'll have the 3n minus 2n, which actually just leaves me with n. So I've already found the first one. Now, on the negative ones, you can get tripped up. Don't just keep going higher, but let's see what this would be. This is n is -7. So if I put a -7 plus 2, that actually gives me -5. And then if I put a -7 plus 4, that actually gives me a -3. So these are my 3 integers. When you are using the negative ones, they'll actually appear, they increase in value, but they appear to decrease because we go 7, 5, 3 with negative numbers. All right, this one we're multiplying 3x minus 2 times 5x plus 8. Remember, there's 2 ways to multiply. Well, there's more than 2 ways, but there's 2 ways that we learned how to stack them like this and do how we normally multiply. So we take this 8 times -2 will be -16. 8 times 3x, well, 8 times 3 is 24. And then we have the x. And then I'm just going to leave this blank. You could put a 0 here if you want to. 5x times a -2 will give me -10x. And then 5x times a 3x is 15 and x squared. Now they're stacked very easily to add them together. So you have 15x squared. 24 minus 10 is a positive 14x minus 16. You could have also done my favorite way, which is to FOIL. So the first ones are these, 3x and 5x will be 15x squared. Your outside ones will be a 3x and an 8. So 3x times 8 is 24x. Your inside will be the -2 times a 5x, so a -10x. And then your last ones will be that -2 and 8, or -16. You will then add your outside and your inside together for a 14x. And you get the same answer. Either way you do that. All right, how do we simplify this one? Oh, we cut off the 2 here. Okay, I like to draw boxes or something around all the ones that are similar. So here's an x squared, here's an x squared, here's an x squared. And then I'm going to underline my x's and I'll do a little scribbly under my constant terms, the ones without a variable on them. So I have 1x squared plus 2x squared plus 4x squared. So that's a 7x squared. I have a 3x and a minus x, so that's a plus 2x. And then I have a minus 18 plus 25, so that will be a plus 7. All right, how many terms does a binomial have? It has 2 terms. So just like this up here, this in the parentheses was a binomial, 3x minus 2. A trinomial, that's what we had at the end. It has 3 terms. So this is a trinomial of 15x squared plus 14x minus 16. All right, this one, it's really hard to see because I didn't write it well. It's b to the 3x times b to the 5x to the 4th. So we're going to start here because these are parentheses and these are exponents to exponents. So that's in our order of operations where we want to start. So b to the 5x to the 4 means that we would have b to the 5x times b to the 5x times b to the 5x times b to the 5x. So we have it 4 times, which means that we add the 5x to the 5x to the 5x to the 5x. So 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5 is 20. You also could have just multiplied right here, 4 times 5x. So that's b to the 20x times b to the 3x. Now we add exponents when they are multiplied together. So 3x plus 20x is just going to be b to the 23x. Okay, let's move over to the other review. Here we go. Review E. All right, this one, you're just matching the graphs. So you probably want to get them all in the y equals, or the slope intercept form. So the y and then the inequality. This one's set up nicely. This one, I'm just going to move my 2 over. So I'm going to subtract the 2 to both sides. When I'm subtracting, I don't have to switch the inequality sign. This one looks good. This one looks good. This one, I need to get rid of that minus 1/2. So I'm going to be multiplying by a minus 2. So I'm going to have to multiply everything over here times a minus 2. When I multiply by negative, I need to switch this sign. So this will now be y less than or equal to negative 2 times a negative 1/2 will end up being just 1. Over here, we'll have to distribute this negative 2. So negative 2x, and then a negative 2 times a negative 2 is a positive 4. And then this one looks good too. So now we just have to match them. This one, the y-intercept is 4. So I may be looking for my y-intercept of 4, and I only have 1, which is this one right here. So this one's P. This one, my y-intercept is 3. I'm going to cross that out so I know that I used it. I only have 1 with a y-intercept 3. That's T. Also, I'm going to double check. This one is not equal. It's just a less than. So it needs to be a dash line. So that adds up, or that works out. This one is a less than or equal to. So that would be a solid line. So that makes sense. This one, my y-intercept is negative 2. So I have 2 choices here. I have a B or the J. So let's see what the slope is. It looks like it hits again right here. So that would be a rise of 2 and a run of 5. So rise over run. So I think this is my slope, a positive 2/5. So that matches this one. I'm going to double check my inequality. This is greater than or equal to, so that means it's a solid line, so that works. We're going to have to go back and forth on this one. Okay, here's a negative 2 for our y-intercept. This one is a negative 1, and this one is another negative 2. So good, I have 2 more negative 2s left and a negative 1. All right, so I think this one I can safely say is that one with the negative 1. So this is A. And then let's figure out our slope for this one. Okay, so we know it crosses here, and it looks like probably right here. So down 3 and over 1. So I'm going to say it's down 3 and over 1. So let's see if any of our slopes are negative 3. I may not have seen it quite right. Oh, it does. This one is negative 3 for my slope, and this one that I have left is negative 4. Let's just double check. Y is less than negative 3, so it's probably going to be shaded on the bottom side. And that is, so I'm going to go with that being the correct one. That's B right here. And then I have 1 left down here. I'm just going to double check with my slope. Looks like maybe right here. So that's a down of 4. So a negative 4 rise and a positive 1. So let's see if negative 4 is our slope with our y-intercept of B. Yes, and y is greater than, which means it's probably on the top side, and this is kind of the top side. So that one works out. I didn't see what letter that was. N. Okay, so there's final answers for those.